Welcome to Mentoring Monday. I'm Pamela Gray, your host. I'm excited to talk with you today about mentoring and going a little deeper, a little richer into this topic to talk more about where you find a mentor. Now, in our first video in this series, I talked about the whole role and goal of not only being mentored, but considering being a mentor if you're fortunate enough to be in that situation. In my second video, I really talked about mentoring magic, as I like to call it. You know, we really focused on the importance and value of having goals. You need to have goals driving your relationship with a mentor because without goals, the value of a mentor is diminished. But with goals, you have all the reason in the world to add so much value to your life with having a mentor's guidance. So I hope you're thinking about this goal setting because it's very important that you come to the forefront of a relationship should you decide you're ready to be mentored and have specific goals. Now, they may not be fully formed, but they should be well enough along the way for you to have a good reason to seek out a relationship with someone so much more experienced than you. Someone who can offer you the guidance, the direction, and oftentimes the insight into a more directed approach, one that can come with more benefits, more success sooner than later, and be more deliberate in terms of the intention that you put forth with your time, gifts, and talents towards that end. So this begs the question, if you're in that mode to find a mentor, where do you find them? What should you be looking for? And I'd like to talk a little bit more about that on our Mentor Monday series today. So now, in the case of my being mentored, if I look back historically at people who were wonderful mentors to me, I found them right in the midst of some pretty serious commitments. Commitments to my professional career when I was in school, being in my first and big job once I graduated. I also took on a passion to develop myself spiritually for personal growth, professional growth, and chose to go through a lengthy process of classes and to become a licensed professional spiritual coach, if you will. One of the greatest joys of my life it was to achieve that, and throughout the years, I've been so rewarded in providing some spiritual development and growth, which has really cascaded and spilled over to my professional mentoring experiences, where I actually serve in a role as a mentor. Now, I began doing professional mentoring about 6 years ago with women in particular who owned their own businesses and found that almost no matter the type of business or the goal of the business, many of the aspects of ownership, you're crafting your gifts and talents and putting it out through the medium of a business. Oftentimes, there are lots of commonalities from person to person. And I found that I could really tap into my experience and over years of business ownership and over years of serving in leadership roles to be able to lend some observations, recommendations, and best practices. So now where might you be looking to find your mentor? Well, as I shared in my experiences, oftentimes the mentor is right in the midst of your most serious commitment in life. So ask yourself, what am I doing today that I'm seriously invested in, that I'm really desiring to have growth and fulfillment and be able to do all the wonderful things that I know I have the gifts and talents and maybe the preparation through a degree or through a certificate program or maybe on the job experience. There's lots of ways you can come into achieving your goals and finding fulfilling goals that you want to reach. So look in the midst, look around you, look from right to left, and ask yourself, who in my situation, who would I turn to if I came to an issue or I was at a crossroads? Who do I think might be willing to sit down and talk with me? So begin by exploring some of the known individuals around your sort of circumference of life. It might be in a formal setting. It could also be in a very informal setting. You see, um, people who are maybe trustees of an organization or trustees of a nonprofit or trustees of a community aren't always trustees with a capital T. Sometimes they have a little t, and they can be extraordinary people, people who are oftentimes understated and under the radar, who are oftentimes far too modest to talk about their accomplishments. But notice them, pay attention to them, begin to think and ask yourself, how would I feel if I had the benefit of their knowledge? And sometimes just having a good heart-to-heart conversation, maybe not so much to ask them to be your mentor on that day, but begin to pose a question or two and see what kind of reception you get. Do you get a warm reception, one that they seem eager to assist, or even wrap up that conversation with an offer to help you? These are your cues to give you the strength and the courage to maybe step forward and entertain the idea of asking that person to be your mentor. You know, a mentor is not a person who goes around saying, I'm a mentor. It doesn't quite work that way. Mentors are oftentimes under the radar. They're busy, committed to what they're interested in doing. You'll see them active in formal and informal ways. They oftentimes are a person who's very much interested in making their caring count. You can tell they're committed to whomever they're in service to. You can see the joy with which they engage with other people. They're enthusiastic to offer good information and be a vehicle or a portal for access to other talented people. You know, a good mentor will oftentimes not only create shadowing opportunities. And what I mean by that is that's an opportunity to shadow them or perhaps shadow someone they know that could add value to you accomplishing one or more of your goals. The idea of a mentor knowing everything is probably unrealistic, but oftentimes their network of individuals might be broad and run deep, and they can suggest other people they can introduce you to. Now, wouldn't that be wonderful if you had such a pipeline to such an audience? What's not to like? Who wouldn't want to go there? So begin looking around and observing and beginning to spend some time and energy anticipating a relationship with a wonderful mentor. Begin to think about how your goals might align with the goals of one or more of those people that you might see in formal and informal circles. You know, they don't have to be a clone of you, and you don't have to be a clone of them. The important thing is that you feel there's an opportunity for a bond, a mutual sharing, a trusted, confidential relationship where personal stories, um, and perhaps sharing of some of our strengths and some of our weaknesses can be discussed and done in a trusted, confidential manner. So begin to think of this. I'm so excited for you to be taking this journey on Mentor Mondays, and I encourage you to go out there and greet your good. And oh, by the way, if you think you would like to have a free initial consultation with me to discuss your journey into being mentored, be sure and go to my website, poweryourdecisions.com, and sign up for that free consultation. I'd be more than happy to talk with you and hear what you have to say about your goals and what you're interested in accomplishing. Again, thank you for coming and seeing me on Mentor Monday, and we'll see you next week for another great topic. Bye for now.